So how do you avoid this thing called burnout when growing your hypnotherapy business? Well, you guys would know that when it comes to growing your business, hypnotherapy, coaching, NLP, RTT, doesn't really matter. You're probably posed with a lot of things that you have to do each day. So how do you avoid burnout? Well, what I see a lot of people do is they screw up the consistency. I'll talk about how I sort of overcome this as well. What they'll do is they'll go really, really hard, like psychopath hard for about 3 or 4 days. They'll give up on everything. They'll focus on the business, which is a great thing. And if you've done that, congratulations. There's only so many days you can do that for before you hit the wall and hit this burnout thing. So what I used to do, and I used to do this as well, I used to wake up and just try and do everything. I'd spread myself so thin in 100 different directions and realize I was getting nothing done. I was able to do that for about 3 or 4 days. I had a bad diet, too much caffeine, not enough sleep. And what happened? I hit the wall and it collapsed. Okay. Then I did about 4 or 5 days off. Then I do it again. And it was sort of up and down, up and down. And I realized very quickly I couldn't follow that system anymore. So what did I do instead? Well, the way I avoid burnout and having any issues like that is I aim for consistency over massive long hours. Okay. So when I first started this, I just aimed for about 2 to 3 hours worth of consistent work in the right places for the first, let's say, year or so of my business. And when that became easy, and I could recover from that, my food got better, my sleep got better, not drinking as much coffee to look after myself, I started to notice, well, I can do now 3 hours. Then it stretched to 4 hours. Then it stretched to 5. So instead of just diving in 12, 15 hours a day for the first 7 days and burning out, I just aim for a little bit more consistency each day. And I do the same thing now, getting well over 20 years now, which is pretty crazy to say. I aim for consistency. And what I'm always doing is I'm trying to optimize what I'm doing. I'm always trying to look at where am I wasting time? Because in those times where I'm wasting time in the wrong places, you know, whatever my goal is, get more clients, grow the company, scale, automate, whatever it is. If I find myself wasting time, another example of wasting time could be like watching TV or going through Facebook groups and worrying about what people are saying, scrolling through TikTok, whatever it is, and getting lost in that rabbit hole of social media. I'm looking for those things and I actively write those things down and I cross them off the list by doing something else. So consistency is huge. If you're worried about burnout or you need to have a certain amount of hours per day to work on your business, aim for consistency instead of spaghetti at the wall, okay? Aim for doing the same thing each day that'll get you clients, grow the business, help you become a better hypnotherapist, than spending 2 hours a day in all the wrong places. And over time, you'll learn you can stretch that consistency over longer periods of time, as in more hours per day, to the point where I can work 7 days a week now. I don't recommend it, for 10, 12, 15 hours a day. And I'm fine. No burnout, no problems whatsoever. When I first started, I couldn't do that. So I had to train myself. I'm not saying you have to do those weird hours. I've just got massive abnormal goals. So I realized there's a lot of stuff I've got to do for that. But a pretty good schedule for me right now is Monday to Saturday, start about 9, end about 8 or 9 each day. Sometimes I might extend it till 10 or 11 at night, depending on how much I've got, how many strategy calls I've had for the day, what my list is. And that's fine. And I try and take Sunday off. Don't always do it. Just depends on what I have on or that time of the year. And these are not excuses. These are just, I've set some really lofty goals that I want to hit. But let's say you work 3 or 4 days per week and you're really consistent, day in, day out, week in, week out, month in, month out, year in, you'll get a lot done. I think a lot of people, like I said, they throw the spaghetti at the wall. They try and do too much at once because they're hyped up, they're psyched up, they hit the wall, and then they lose interest and they spend a lot of time in all the wrong places. So a way to avoid burnout, guys, beyond looking after yourself, better diet, more exercise, better sleep, and all that sort of stuff, aim for consistency. Consistency goes a long way rather than spreading yourself too thin.